Today we'll study about functions. I'll give a very simple explanation about how to use functions in Python. Specifically, let us learn about arguments which we pass to the function. Then return value. Then we'll learn about built-in function. Then how to define a function, and then finally how to call a function. I'll try to make this presentation very simple, but at the same time tell some important concepts about function in Python. So the concepts are general for any language, but this is a Python course, and it will be good to understand this very clearly. From my experience, I've seen that when students don't understand this precisely, they land up in trouble. So that is why I thought I will do a short video on this. Let us consider a very, very simple function which all of you were using. That is type. When you start learning about Python itself, you would have used type. So type, for the function type, you will pass some argument. Let us consider an example, x equal to 5. So x is a variable name which is holding an integer. So now if I give type type x, or it returns some value, type of let me resize the screen. So type of x is equal to type within brackets x. So let us understand this very, very clearly. X is the argument. So x is what is going into the function, which is written by somebody else for you, and this function type will return something back to you. That is called the return value. So let us print type of x. Let us run this code and see what happens. It says x is of class integer. Now if we consider another example, x equal to 5.2, then Python realizes that this is a floating point number. So what will be type of x? It will be float. It's called float. And this is nobody writes Python codes like this. We concatenate function, we jointly write things. So let me write how usually Python programmers will write. X is equal to 5.2, then print type. We needn't use a variable, print type of x. So what is this? There are two functions. The first function is type of x. So what is the argument for this? The argument for this is x. And what is it returning to you? It is returning to you what is the type of x. So that will be printed by this function. So let us see this. Another beauty of Python is for all functions needn't return a value. For example, print is a built-in function. Within quotes, if you write we'll just print that. We are not passing anything. This function takes an argument which is a string and displays it on your screen. Now I can have more arguments. This is the first argument, then I can have x, Or more realistically, I can have this is also a function, print value of x is equal to x. So I hope you understood these two functions, these simple functions which we have been using. One function is type, which takes an argument and returns a value. What is the value? Value is the value of the type. So I hope it is clear. Another built-in function is ABS. 0.2. So ABS is a built-in function which gives you the absolute value of it. So ABS, I can give ABS minus 100 gives 100. So absolute, this is another function. What is the argument? Any number is the argument. And what is the output? The value which it returns is the absolute value of x. Suppose I have x equal to minus 24.3. Then I have ABS x. Instead of this, if I want to collect this value which is returned, then I can have another variable y equal to ABS x, and then I can have print y. This is just for your understanding. What is this function doing? This is the last function which I am going to explain. ABS is a function which is a built-in function. It takes a number which is x, which is minus 24.3, and it returns the absolute value of x. Okay, so these are built-in functions. So what did we study? We studied three built-in functions: type, print, and ABS. Now we can have our own functions. And why do we use functions? To make our job easy. So Python has a lot of built-in functions which makes our, otherwise we would have had to write the function for finding absolute value of x. So let us write a very simple function which will print a line of characters. So after giving an example, I will explain the syntax. Def print line of ch. You should have this colon. Then after that, for I in range 10. Or better, this will be better. We will make it a very simple thing. Print 10 into ch. Let us see what happens. When we run this, nothing happens. So this is just a function definition. This is what a function definition. Now if I want, I should call this function. How will I call this function? To call the function, print line, then I will put x. It has printed a line with 10x. Now instead of x, if I put anything, ha, with a space, then it will print a ha 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 ha. Isn't it cool? So you can this function just does this. It doesn't return any value, but what does it return? What does it do? It does some job for you. You have to pass a character. Suppose you can pass two arguments. let us have another function, another better function, say print line 2. Instead of this thing, I will have some n as a character, n into ch. Now what will I do? I'll have print line 2. We define this function print line 2. I'll have ch and 10. I should give like this x. It put. So you should be careful. I deliberately made that error. This, it's expecting a character or a string. So this is a string. So instead of x, if I put ha, and instead of 10, if I put 20, we'll get a longer line. So is it clear? So this function, what does it do? It takes two arguments and it doesn't return anything, but it prints a line. So our final example, let us have a function which will return something, which will return, let us find area of circle. Let us find area of circle. What is the formula for area of circle? All of you know that area of circle is, say I will have a temporary or area equal to 3.14 into r square. Then if I want to return something, I should use the keyword return area. So this is the function definition for area of circle. Define area of circle. There should not be a space here. Oh, it's expecting an argument r. Now what is this function doing? It will take the argument of this function is r and it will return area. So let us find area. So answer is equal to area of circle 10. So 10 square is 100. So print answer. So what is this function doing? This function, the argument which goes, this part, let me repeat again. This is function called. So when you are calling the function, you will pass an argument. What is the argument which is being passed? It's 10. And what does this function do? This function will take this argument, which is r, and compute area and return the value of area. So this function takes one argument and returns one value. Is that clear? So let me summarize what we have studied today. We have studied about arguments. First we studied built-in function type. What is the argument for type? You will give something to the type of x. So that is the argument and it will return the type value. So the value may be integer or floating point. So a function will take an argument and return a value. We have studied three built-in functions. We have in this short class, we have known about type is 1. Type will take one argument x. Then we learned about print, which does not specifically return anything, but it will take some strings. And then we learned about absolute value, ABS. It takes an argument x and return the absolute value. That is, if x is minus 5, it will return plus 5. If x is 100, it will return 100. Then we saw how to define a function. I said I will give you the syntax clearly at the end. So the definition of function is like this: def function name. The syntax for function is def function name followed by some arguments, and you'll have the function. There should be a colon. You will have the function will do a lot of jobs for you, and finally it will return a value. Return value. Some function may return value, some function will not return value. How to call a function? Function name followed by argument. We studied a few functions, that is print, line. We can pass some string. So this print line function we wrote will make a line of haha, or if it is x, it will make a line of x. Another function which we studied is print line 2. This is the function called. So here if I put say x followed by some number 20, it will make a line of 20. So that's all. Thank you very much.